In Hollywood, roles aren't simply cast, they're taken, sometimes with charm, sometimes with cash, and sometimes with whispers so faint the studio itself pretends not to hear them. But this time someone talked. After nearly 6 months of preparation, Jessica Chastain was poised to lead Netflix's next big thriller, Glass Harvest, a slow-burn psychological story that had her name written all over it. She'd met the director, mood boards had been designed around her, and costume sketches were tailored for her frame, until one meeting changed everything. Out of nowhere, Blake Lively appeared, as if the role had always been hers. No announcement, no audition, just a quiet takeover that nobody dared to question. When people asked why, silence spread like smoke. It felt familiar. First Emma Stone, then Anne Hathaway, then Meghan Markle, and now Jessica. What followed wasn't just another recast scandal. It was the fallout from standing in the path of Blake Lively's orchestrated comeback and Ryan Reynolds' secret pitch deck. This time, someone caught it on record. Word spread that Jessica had been locked in for months until someone higher up literally rewrote the script. Every deleted tweet, every polished statement, every PR cover-up took hours to untangle, but the truth always finds a way through. Jessica wasn't angry, not yet. She assumed it was a mix-up. Maybe the casting team got wires crossed. Maybe Blake was attached to a different project. Then her phone rang. On the other end was a producer she barely spoke to anymore, his tone trembling, heavy with guilt. "I wasn't going to say anything," he began, "but you deserve to know." Jessica stepped outside. Los Angeles was wrapped in rare rain, as if even the sky sensed what was coming. "They're rewriting Glass Harvest," he said. "Blake isn't just attached, she's the lead." She and Ryan pitched a revised version. Your name was literally crossed out. Jessica went silent. "There's more," he added. "Ryan and Blake have been quietly selling a power couple thriller package to studios. It's all hush-hush." Jessica asked if it was confirmed. After a pause, he sent her a screenshot, a Slack thread, one line highlighted in neon yellow. "Ryan plus Blake package feels like the cleaner sell. Jess is too prestige, too serious." She stared at the words as the rain hit harder, realizing the storm outside wasn't nearly as cold as the one about to begin inside Hollywood. It didn't shock Jessica. It just confirmed what she already sensed. They said she was too serious for a thriller, too prestige, too grounded, while Blake Lively was supposedly bringing fashion show energy to every frame. Make it make sense. Jessica tried to stay quiet, refusing to spiral just because Blake had been cast in a project she'd helped shape from the beginning. But then came Cannes. Jessica was meant to attend, had even cleared time for it, until a last-minute scheduling shift made her pull out. And suddenly Blake appeared, not for promotion, not tied to any film, just there. But her presence wasn't subtle. Same sleek hair, same deep crimson lip, same minimalist, dramatic gown Jessica had worn to the exact same event in 2022. Within hours, side-by-side photos went viral. Blake Lively channels Jessica Chastain, or borrows her entire look. The internet called it out instantly. What was this? Coincidence or calculated imitation? And if that wasn't enough, 3 days later Blake went on a podcast and dropped a familiar line. "I think what makes a performance authentic is when you're not chasing the moment. You're letting it find you." Word for word, it was Jessica's quote from her Eyes of Tammy Faye press reel in 2021. Fans remembered. They flooded the comments, calling it blatant copying. "A new podcast appearance," one tweet read, or "a recycled Chastain quote." Jessica stayed silent. She didn't have to. The internet did the talking for her. Behind the scenes, though, things got strange. Jessica's promo campaign for her Netflix thriller, already filmed and scheduled, started quietly disappearing. Press junkets, Q&As, and late-night bookings suddenly under review. A variety shoot scrapped over stylistic redundancy. A Tonight Show appearance postponed. Even a completed interview with her indie co-star vanished from the release slate. The footage existed. Jessica had seen the final cut, but now everyone was pretending it didn't. Then another Slack screenshot leaked. "Kill the Chastain rollout for now." Ryan's team flagged confusion concerns with the Lively campaign. Jessica read it. No public comment. Just one subtle move. Her publicist liked a single tweet. Jessica Chastain didn't build her career to be anyone's placeholder. She built the lane. And that's when the theory thread began. Not from tabloids, but from interns inside the system. Whispers about Ryan Reynolds influencing Netflix's press sequencing, about selective silence during competing rollouts, about how Hollywood's power couples can rewrite the script of visibility itself when the algorithm and ambition align. Netflix didn't want prestige names anymore, which, according to one assistant, was code for Blake wants the role now, and Ryan's the one making it happen. Jessica wasn't paranoid. She'd seen this playbook before. You sign onto a film, help shape it, define its tone, mold the character, and then someone with louder PR and better connections swoops in to absorb the credit. But what she didn't expect was to see the alternate version unfold in real time. 3 days after her promo disappeared, Jessica got a text, not from her agent or Netflix, but from a junior screenwriter she'd once mentored on a small 2017 indie thriller. Is it true you dropped the Black Dove pitch? Just got asked to rewrite the lead for Blake. Jessica froze. Black Dove wasn't just another project, it was hers. She'd been attached for over a year, refining the script, workshopping dialogue, and reshaping the ending to give the lead more emotional depth and agency. It was the kind of role that could win awards, layered, psychological, the kind of slow-burn chaos she excelled at. And now they were rewriting it for Blake. Not as a new character. As her. Jessica didn't reply to the writer, but the next morning, her stylist posted an Instagram story. No caption, no tag, just a photo of the original Black Dove mood board with Jessica's handwriting at the bottom. She doesn't play roles, she shapes them. Fans noticed instantly. LMAO, not Jessica reminding everyone she built this project. One tweet read, "You can't just slap Blake on it and pretend it's new." Then came the cherry on top, an audio memo leak. Short, grainy, but unmistakably Ryan Reynolds' voice. If we age it up, soften the PTSD arc, and dial back the grief, she'll kill it. She's Blake. She can pull anything off. Jessica had stayed silent through worse, but this wasn't about creative direction. It was about being rewritten out of her own story and watching someone else step into her shadow. This time, she wasn't letting it slide. For once, Jessica Chastain made a move she rarely made. She picked up the phone and called the studio head herself. Jessica didn't call her agent or her manager. She called the director, the actual decision-maker. When the assistant picked up, they didn't even ask why she was calling. They just said, "She's expecting you," which meant they already knew. Jessica didn't raise her voice, didn't threaten, didn't pull rank. She just asked one question. If this were your story, would you let someone else take credit for it? The line went silent. Then, finally, the executive spoke, quietly, almost regretfully. "Off the record, it wasn't our idea. Ryan brought it in. Said Blake wanted something sharper, less internalized trauma, more elevated danger." Jessica blinked. Elevated danger. Industry shorthand for less depth, more gloss. That's when she understood. This wasn't about a role. It was about a rewrite of her entire narrative, turning her into the difficult one, the overthinker, the problem, while Ryan packaged the betrayal as a favor. She ended the call without another word. No statement, no subtweet, nothing. But 3 hours later, Ryan's team announced a new project, a slick, high-concept thriller unrelated to anything else, except it had the same composer, same producers, and the exact same logline. A woman haunted by loss, drawn into a dangerous surveillance game she never agreed to play. Sound familiar? Jessica didn't flinch. She just opened her notes app, typed one sentence, and posted it to X. "You can try to rewrite the script, just don't act surprised when the audience walks out halfway through." The leak didn't come from Jessica. It came from someone no one expected, an actress not even involved in the Netflix project, but one who'd seen this playbook before. Ruth Wilson. The Emmy-winning actress, known for roles that bite, not beg. Years ago, before Black Dove had a title, a studio, or a budget, Ruth had been considered for the same project. It had existed only as a Word document and a whisper. Then, out of nowhere, Ruth posted a clip, just a 23-second video from an old 2023 interview that no one had paid much attention to. She's sitting on a film panel when someone asks, "What's the weirdest feedback you've ever gotten after turning down a script?" Ruth smiles, tired but amused. One producer said, "It's okay. We'll blake it up a bit. You'll see it at the Globes anyway." The audience laughed back then. Nobody knew what that meant. But now everyone did. Within hours, the clip went viral. Fans started connecting dots, comparing the leaked Black Dove synopsis with the new Ryan and Blake teaser. The contrast was jarring. Original. A woman grieving a violent betrayal uncovers a surveillance network built to erase women like her. New. A glamorous archivist drawn into a seductive cat-and-mouse chase across European art houses. They'd stripped out the trauma, the fury, the grief, replaced it with sunglasses, museums, and glossy Euro thriller aesthetics. It wasn't evolution. It was erasure. And once Ruth's clip exploded, Jessica's name surged back into the timeline. One viral tweet summed it up. Ruth turned down the same script. They blaked it up. Jessica developed it. Got cut. Ryan repitched it. Now we're supposed to believe this is a new movie? Make it make sense. The story was officially out, and this time, Hollywood couldn't silence it. For a while, the silence worked. Ryan and Blake's version of Black Dove slipped quietly through Netflix's internal promo machine. Polished press emails, curated leaks, a first-look teaser that erased Jessica entirely. But the silence cracked when the director spoke. Isabelle Fontaine, the French-American indie filmmaker known for two things: pulling raw, blistering performances from A-list women and avoiding press at all costs, finally broke. Not at a festival or a red carpet, but on a small podcast called Quiet on Set, recorded in a rented LA apartment with cheap foam panels and disarming honesty. The episode's title, Directors We Lost to Hollywood Games. 31 minutes in, Isabelle dropped the bombshell. Calm, cool, devastating. I pitched Black Dove as a story about trauma and survival. Jessica and I built it together. The moment I got the new draft, I didn't recognize it. It was soft, beautiful, but it wasn't mine. And she wasn't in it. She never said Blake's name. She didn't need to. When the host asked why she stepped away, Isabelle's reply was surgical. Because if I wanted to make a perfume ad, I'd call L'Oreal. Soft. Beautiful. But it wasn't mine. The most elegant way to say Blake ruined it. And then, as if on cue, Blake Lively landed a new L'Oreal campaign. Fans noticed the parallels immediately. The lighting, the tone, the sterile aesthetic, almost identical to Black Dove's original storyboards, now circulating online. The reaction wasn't outrage over her taking the role. It was disappointment at how the message had been stripped of meaning. Even casual viewers started posting side-by-side comparisons. How do you go from Jessica Chastain's fury to Blake Lively's cheekbones? The studio stayed silent. Jessica stayed silent too. No statements, no subtweets, not even a liked post. But silence doesn't mean surrender. Because on May 7th, something dropped that changed everything. It wasn't official. It wasn't polished. It was raw, 94 seconds of truth. A single scene, clearly from Black Dove's original camera tests, surfaced online without warning. The clip showed Jessica alone in a stripped-down warehouse, barefoot, no makeup, eyes red but steady as she whispered one haunting line. "If I die here, no one will ask who buried me. They'll ask who dressed me." It wasn't in the new script, but it was unforgettable. The footage appeared on a private Vimeo link. No branding, no timestamps, no studio watermark, just art stripped bare. But the internet never sleeps. Within hours, it was ripped, tweeted, downloaded, reposted, dissected. By midnight, #TheRealBlackDove was trending worldwide. The top comment read, "You replace this with a perfume ad? Netflix, you good." The second, "We lost the real Black Dove. RIP." Then someone checked the metadata. The test scene had been filmed 6 weeks before Blake was even cast, which meant only one thing. Jessica had shot material and Netflix had buried it. Once that detail hit the feeds, the backlash ignited. Industry insiders slipped into anonymous comment sections, whispering truths they couldn't say aloud. "This is how you kill a film's soul." One wrote, "Somewhere Ryan and Blake are high-fiving, but the audience isn't clapping." And then, just as fast as it appeared, the clip vanished. The Vimeo link deleted. Tweets copyright claimed. Reddit threads locked. But it was too late. The internet had already immortalized it by May 8th. The outrage wasn't just online. Behind closed doors, Netflix execs were fielding quiet calls from producers, agents, and one studio partner who asked the question no one wanted on record. Did you really scrap Jessica for Blake? Or is there something else going on? Still, no one could have predicted what came next. At exactly 6:12 p.m. Eastern, a private Zoom link went live. No press invite, no marketing, no RSVP list. Only a cryptic email sent to 3 journalists, 1 film critic, and an Oscar-winning director. The subject line read, "This is not a press event. This is a reminder." When they clicked in, there she was, Jessica Chastain. No glam, no set dressing, just her seated at a table under a single spotlight. No script, no notes. Just truth. She didn't say Blake's name. She didn't mention Ryan. But her words cut through the quiet like glass. Sometimes silence is mistaken for permission. Sometimes a woman is told to step aside for sparkle. But sparkle fades, and memory doesn't. She paused, then looked directly into the camera. "They didn't take my role. They took the credit. But the performance," she leaned forward, "that stays in the blood." There was no Q&A. No credits. Just one last whisper before the feed went dark. "I was never erased. Just waiting." 20 minutes later, one of the critics who received the link tweeted, "Jessica Chastain just delivered a masterclass in controlled fury. No names, no swears, just truth." And if Netflix thinks this fades away, they've learned nothing from Sydney or Megan. And then something impossible happened. Black Dove's Netflix landing page glitched. Blake's face vanished, replaced for 90 seconds by a single frame of a dove, white feathers stained red. Some said it was a bug. Some said sabotage. Others swore Jessica had nothing to do with it. But those who watched closely didn't need an explanation. Because justice doesn't always arrive as a headline. Sometimes it's a pattern of women pushed out, then rising louder. Jessica didn't scream. She didn't beg. She simply took back the story.